I was sitting at my couch or on my couch watching the rest of the game. By that time, the game was already over, and I was just sitting on my couch in a little bit of a drunken stupor. And the realization came to me. It's like, oh no, you need to make a show tomorrow. It's Monday. There needs to be an episode of the podcast. You need to go and make a show. And I was like, oh no, I am not in any stable condition to go and not only get up off the couch after having too much beer and chicken wings, but not only get off my couch, I need to go into my room, turn on my computer, and do research for a show, and then wake up the next morning and have my notes not look like a complete doctor's note. So what I did is I waited until some of the effects of the food and drink had subsided. I did a little bit of research that night. I was up late. I tried to come and do a show yesterday, but I was just really exhausted. And whenever you're really exhausted, the show just doesn't turn out as well. So you said, you know what? I'm going to take a rain check on it, and we're going to do the show on Tuesday. So that's what we're doing today. Hope you guys are okay with all of this being a day late. But how about that game? How about that Super Bowl? I didn't see that coming. I did not see that coming. Nobody saw that coming. I mean, I spent so much time trying to decide the winner of this game throughout the past 2 weeks. And so much to the fact that I procrastinated making the video of my prediction for the Super Bowl because I thought it was going to be a back and forth shootout and I had no idea who I wanted to pick. And the game was just not like that at all. I mean, the Chiefs were only the third or fourth team in NFL history to not score a touchdown in the Super Bowl. And to say that about this Patrick Mahomes-led Chiefs squad, that's absolutely incredible that they're a part of that dark side of history, a part of teams that never scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. I think joining the 2018 Rams, the 1971 Miami Dolphins, and one other team that I'm forgetting off the top of my head. But if you saw this coming, if you saw the game going the way that it did, I mean, you're either crazy, lying, or clairvoyant. I mean, and you should just take the chair. You should take the chair. You should take a position on ESPN because, god damn, I did not see the game being that one-sided and that big of a blowout. Very reminiscent of the Seattle versus Denver Super Bowl from 2014, where both teams were really, really good, but Seattle steamrolled the Broncos, something like 43-9. It wasn't as this Super Bowl wasn't as bad as that Super Bowl, but still, with the offensive potential that both these teams had, having only one of those teams live up to that expectation and have the team that didn't live up to that expectation be the team that is historically great on offense, it's mind-blowing. I did not see this coming. And if anything, this shows how hard it is to win a Super Bowl. Never mind 2 in a row, how well you need to play throughout the entire season and also play your best football at the right time. I don't know whether the Chiefs peaked too early this season. I don't know if they never peaked and they just did not play a good football game, but I'll tell you this much. They picked the absolute worst time to play their worst football game of the season. And before we go into talking about the Chiefs, I do want to make sure that Brady and the Buccaneers get their due credit because I think a lot of the storyline that's going to come out of this game is like what happened to the Chiefs, why did things go this way, and how were the Buccaneers able to dominate them. And I think people are going to focus on the former rather than the latter. So I do want to make sure that Brady and the Buccaneers do get their credit for absolutely dominating the Kansas City Chiefs. Byron Leftwich and Todd Bowles called an absolutely brilliant game on both sides of the football. An absolutely brilliant game. Kudos to them. I mean, Bruce Arians is the head guy. He's the head honcho. He's going to get a lot of the credit. But Byron Leftwich, the offensive coordinator, and Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator, called an absolutely fantastic game on both sides of the ball. Apart from the one drive offensively where they had a short field and they couldn't get the ball into the end zone, that was the Chiefs' one stop of the game, basically, where they stopped the Buccaneers on 4th and goal, 4th and inches, and Ronald Jones just could not get it into the end zone. Apart from that drive, Byron Leftwich pretty much called a perfect game. They went deep down the field when they needed to. They used Mike Evans's incredible selling ability to draw a couple of pass interference calls. And when when the Chiefs safeties were playing over top, They utilized Gronkowski in a way that he quite hasn't been used so far this season. I mean, Gronkowski going from not really getting any use in the Buccaneers offense to being one of the stars of the Super Bowl was a great transformation for him as well. A great balance of passing and running for the Buccaneers. A great game for Leonard Fournette, who, good for him after everything that he's been through, being drafted to the Jaguars, having a great first season, and then having some really bad subsequent seasons and being labeled a bust to go to Tampa Bay and win a Super Bowl with Tom Brady and have a really good offensive performance. Great for his career, great for Leonard Fournette. I'm happy for Fournette. The Buccaneers defense played fantastic. It felt like, they were blitzing pretty much on every play, but I remember reading either a statistic on Twitter or an article yesterday, something or the other, that said that the Buccaneers only blitzed the Kansas City Chiefs 7 times during that football game. And if you go back and watch that football game and you watch it with the knowledge that the Buccaneers blitzed only 7 times that game, you're going to be looking at what happened at the Chiefs front 7 and be like, what the hell? Like, what the hell was going on? Patrick Mahomes was running for his life. The Chiefs played poorly on pretty much every single facet of the offense. The Chiefs straight up looked like they weren't prepared for that game. The Bucs looked like they had a plan to beat the Chiefs, and the Chiefs looked like they just figured that they can play football and win. That's what that game looked like to me. And again, to reiterate, this absolutely shows how hard it is to win a Super Bowl in the NFL. Not only do you need to play well enough all season to be able to get an opportunity to pursue a Super Bowl, but you also need to be playing your best football at the right time. And the Buccaneers were playing their best football at the right time, and the Chiefs happened to play their worst game of the season for a variety of factors, which led to that extremely one-sided Super Bowl. I don't know if, the COVID situation with the barber early in the week played an impact. I don't think anybody was removed from the lineup for health and safety protocol reasons. It's hard to say if the car accident with Andy Reid's son played a toll on the team, and maybe their thoughts were elsewhere. I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, this loss for the Chiefs was so surprising. Like, I feel like myself and every other analyst on the internet or on TV is legitimately looking through everything to try and find a reason as to why the Chiefs played so poorly, other than the reason that the Buccaneers just kicked the Chiefs in the mouth. In general, and the Chiefs fans are not going to like this, the Chiefs just played their worst game of the season, and it just so happened to be the Super Bowl. The Buccaneers exploited the Chiefs' cornerbacks' holding habits, one of the most penalized defenses in the league. Something that was outlined a lot by Tony Romo on the broadcast, actually, and, excuse me, there were some really bad penalties, stupid penalties. Chris Jones doing unsportsmanlike conduct, the offsides on Mecole Hardman on the field goal, which allowed the Buccaneers to continue the drive and score a touchdown. And, of course, the Chiefs offense just not being able to get anything going, getting field goals when they could have been getting touchdowns, and continuing to stay in the game for every drive they had that was successful in scoring points. It looked like they were going to be scoring a touchdown, and then the drive just stalled for one reason or the other. So they couldn't finish drives, they couldn't score touchdowns, and Mahomes really couldn't do anything. I mean, he was running for his life out there. So yeah, some calls I didn't agree with when it comes to Chiefs fans. I know Chiefs fans were very upset during the first half, and some of those calls, I was sitting on my couch again with a chicken wing in hand, just taking a bite and saying, "Yeah, I don't think that they're going to be very happy about those calls." Some of them were pass interference, some of them were ticky tack and really stupid. Poor Patrick Mahomes. He was running for his life. I mean, I think I saw he scrambled in the backfield for close to 500 yards. He barely had any time to throw. The Chiefs were missing their starting left tackle and starting right tackle. I think one of them had an ACL tear. I can't remember which one. He had an ACL tear in the AFC Championship game, and the other one was being forced to play out of position. But even still, the offensive line and the receivers, they didn't help Mahomes at all. I mean, even when there was about 4 or 5 different times when Mahomes performed the act of God in the backfield to try and escape the 4-man rush from the Buccaneers, and he threw it on his side or he threw it off balance and it hit the wide receiver right in the hands, and the wide receiver dropped it. Kelsey had 2 bad drops. Tyreek Hill had a pass that was difficult, but he should have caught. There was another one on the goal line that should have been caught. Just a very disappointing game for the Kansas City Chiefs, and there's no other way to really quantify it. I mean, it was a bad game. It was the Chiefs' worst game of the season, and it just so happened to be in the Super Bowl. Had this happened in any other game, it probably wouldn't have mattered much. You would have said, okay, the Chiefs are just going to come back next week and play better. They're going to be healthy, and they're going to absolutely dominate on offense. But you have to tip your cap to Brady for getting his 7th ring. He's the undisputed greatest of all time. There's no debating that. You got to give your hat off to not only Bruce Arians but his entire coaching staff. Majority of them black, and a couple of them are women as well. So a revolutionary coaching staff for the Buccaneers. And Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich called a fantastic game. Both Todd Bowles, Byron Leftwich should deserve a head coaching job maybe somewhere in the future. But yeah, I mean, that's my thoughts on the Super Bowl, and you can't really say anything else. There's really no, unless you go searching for it, and unless you try and go and make a story out of nothing, there's really nothing else to say about the Super Bowl other than the Buccaneers just kicked the Chiefs in the face for 4 quarters, and it was one of the more unprecedented and unforeseeable outcomes for a game that was hyped up as much as it was. Very difficult to win a Super Bowl. It's so difficult to go an entire season playing great football, staying healthy, and not only being able to make it through the other teams that were able to do that, but to get to the Super Bowl and play well in that game enough to bring home a championship. So does this mean that the Chiefs are, their dynasty to be is ruined? No, I think we're going to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl year after year, maybe every other year for at least the next 10 years, as long as Patrick Mahomes decides to keep playing. I think that they'll be in that Super Bowl conversation for a long time. I think anybody trying to tell you differently, just something to end this segment before the show. I saw probably one of the worst takes ever on television yesterday where Keyshawn Johnson said that he wasn't sure that Patrick Mahomes was ever going to make it back to another Super Bowl in his career. I mean, if you want to talk about reactionary news and you want to talk about reactionary reporting, that's the definition of it. What a horrendous take. I mean, I understand how bad the Chiefs got beaten in this game, but to think that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs won't be back in a Super Bowl again, asinine. Yeah. So that's my thoughts on the Super Bowl. There's no other real way to carve it up or slice it up unless you go looking for a storyline that's either completely ludicrous or insignificant to how the game actually played out. But yeah, congratulations to the Buccaneers. I know that Tampa Bay, or Champa Bay, or should we call them now Champa Bay? Great year for the city when it comes to winning championships. Congratulations to the Buccaneers and to the Buccaneers fans. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this segment from the Hard Headed Sports Podcast. You've heard what I've had to say, now I'm interested to hear what you think as well. If you enjoyed this highlight from the show and want to watch more highlights from the show as they come out after the show's completion, you should definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you're interested in listening to the entire show in its full-length entirety, you should follow the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Anchor. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all very soon.